Hi, we're here to kill Vermivorous the Invincible. I don't normally make intro movies, but you're going to be spending a lot of time in that room and you'll probably get creative when you're that bored. Anyway, here he is. He should be called Vermivorous the Difficult to Spawn because he's kind of a pain in the bum. But there's a few tips and tricks we can look at to encourage him to spawn. And there's his gizzards and insides, very disgusting. You may remember a mission you get from Sir Hammerlock called Mighty Morphin. He says allegedly the buggers, that's a pun you see, will morph if they take enough damage. Now this is a clue. There's lots of rumours going on the internet that say damaging it doesn't make any difference, but in my experience it absolutely does. They might not spawn, they might not pot up until you damage them. The guide on the Borderlands wiki also has a quote from, I think, the official guide, which says, adults can pot up too, becoming badass varkids. Badasses can in turn become super badasses, and so on. Any given varkid specimen may be more or less motivated to progress down the evolutionary tree. Some will do so on their own, willingly and quickly, potting up through several stages of development without a natural stimulus. Others pot up only under duress, whether when merely under attack or as a last-ditch effort to avoid death. Some varkid specimens won't pot up ever, and some will only progress a stage or two then stop. Now what this is basically saying is some of them might just go on their own, and you'll see a lot of them do. Others need a bit of a kick, and some simply will stop wherever they have. Some will stay at larval, some will stay at adult, some will stay at badass, and so on. Getting them close to death is actually more trouble than it's worth, so definitely it's worth just giving them each a poke. But anyway, let's have a look at the stages. So you start off with larval varkids, and these pot up and turn into adults. The larval ones are pretty harmless, they just kind of stab you with their tail. And you'll see I've just got two here. So I'm showing that the family tree theory is nonsense, but I'll have some more proof of that later. The adults fly and they chuck stuff at you, and if you shoot them down to half health, they'll ground, but it won't necessarily help them evolve. These in turn turn into badasses. These guys will charge you and spit at you. They like to kick you around and they'll knock you pretty far. From there they turn into super badasses. The super badasses will burrow into the ground and they'll fire semi-homing projectiles at you. These guys here, they love to play hockey with you or football and just kick you around endlessly. Now I noticed here they attack each other, and actually it's only when they attack each other that they pot up. So maybe there's some proof in that theory, or maybe not. Who knows? We'll see. Anyway, we've got two super badasses now. Now I never managed to get footage in my 40 or 50 runs of a super badass potting up to an ultimate. But I did get the pod. The problem is because they burrow, you don't know when they're actually doing it, and you tend to run away because you don't know when they're going to come up. And they'll pop up randomly. Anyway, this is an ultimate. What they do is they'll get on the ground and headbutt you a bit like a badass, but they'll also fire these homing projectile mini larvids at you. And you can shoot these out of the sky and they count as bullymong projectile hits, because I got an award for that. Anyway, ultimates will eventually turn into Vermivorous. And here's the guy here. He's big. You can see he's bigger than the house. He's kind of as big as the shed. There he is, giving some buzzards trouble. And again, it's worth mentioning if I haven't mentioned it yet, but it's worth mentioning if the buzzards turn up and Vermivorous hasn't turned up, restart. It's still possible to get him, but the amount of time you may have to spend isn't worth it. Anyway, here he is in relation to an ultimate varkid. You can see he's pretty huge. But he's not so hard to kill, although you'll also notice I've got him at level 42. I've come here before I've finished my second playthrough, because at level 50 he's just going to melt me. I've only just hit level 50, my equipment's still really rubbish. We'll have a look at it in a second. The chubby ones, there was just a chubby one there. They'll spawn, kill them quick, they don't evolve, but they do drop the bustling bunny, which is a legendary rocket launcher. So if nothing else, it's worth killing them for that on the off chance they drop it. Although at level 39 it's not that great. Here's the equipment that I've got. Take a non-attacking shield. It's very important that you do that, otherwise you'll kill the larvids. The class mod that I have gives me health regeneration and increases my max health, but you might prefer shield regeneration. You might prefer ammo regeneration, because your ammo is going to run out. If you've got a Vault Hunter Relic, I've got because I want to increase my red drops, but second wind health is going to be useful. Cooldown rate maybe, or shield recharge or strength. And grenades, meh, you're not really going to use them. These guys aren't on the ground. As for weapons, you're going to want an acid weapon, a fire weapon, and just an assault rifle of some description, or or a pistol that you can just keep aggro with, and a sniper rifle for getting your big hit shots. Or a rocket launcher, it's up to you, but I find critical is easier to get with a sniper rifle. As for the family tree theory, you can see here I've got 7 ultimate varkids, ultimate badass varkids, and 3 supers, and I played around with them for about 20-25 minutes and they refused to evolve. So I refuse to believe that the family tree theory, which is to say you have, 2 larvas will make an adult, 2 adults will make a badass, 2 badass will make a super, and so on. I don't think that holds any water whatsoever. I believe it's entirely random, but they can be encouraged. However, there's a chance that they simply won't evolve. In my experience, about 1 in 4 times they'll evolve into Vermivorous, if done properly. Another theory is that if you damage them, they won't pod up. You can see here this guy, I'm shooting him, and he's actually got a damage over time on him, corrosive, but he's still in a pod, and the pod will take the damage. Now, it can kill the pod, but essentially they'll pod up, whether you're hitting them or whatever. And the reason I shoot them is actually because I get health back, and Moxie's guns will also give you health back. I tried it on my first playthrough. You can see these guys are level 14, 15. I couldn't ever get them to evolve past supers, and I had at one point 10 supers on the screen. And I'm using the 4-player slider, which you can get if you search for, to allow your single-player experience to actually be 4-player difficulty. And you can go for ammo in the fight. I went here, fast travel to Tundra Express regular. It's the same map. Don't run there, use the fast travel, otherwise you'll spawn other monsters and maybe despawn Vermivorous. But you can see here I came back and everyone's still kicking around, and I'll turn around, there he is. So he hasn't gone away. You can definitely use the fast travel to get more ammo if you want. Anyway, here's the run through. Okay, here we go for the run through. I'm just running around in the field from top to bottom, aggroing all the pods. I shoot a little bit in the air, it doesn't matter too much if you clip them, waiting for some badasses to spawn. And basically when my shields go down, here we go, I'm going to hop a couple of badasses here. When your shields go down, that's when it's time to head into the farmhouse. That's when it's getting unsafe. And that's usually when there's 4 or 5 badasses. If you're coming here at level 50, I don't know what sort of shields you'll have. I haven't really done any farming yet, so I've just got stuff from quests or from picking up out of chests. Nothing spectacular, so 50,000 shields, I don't know if that's good. Once you're in here, you're just going to be shooting the walls. You're going to be keeping aggro by doing that. I like to pop them a little bit. I've already played this clip here where I shoot this guy and he pods while he's being hit, so it really doesn't matter if you accidentally clip them. If none spawn for a while, what I'll do is kill some adults or badasses. What you want to do is if you're really in trouble, you can stand on the trapdoor at the back. I was just up there a second ago. But they may start to have pathing issues and get trapped or de-aggro and not pod, so you don't want to spend too long up there. The other place you can stand is the bucket, but badasses will be able to hit you through the wall. So the best results I found is to run around and peep out of this back window occasionally, shoot an adult or 2. The reason I shoot the adults and sometimes the badasses is that in my experience, every time you make a kill, another one will spawn. And who knows which one it'll be. Now, you're going to die. It's going to happen. So it's important to have a caustic weapon that can kill a badass in one hit. They're going to be the easiest targets. They stay on the ground. They're generally by the door. So you want to be able to kill one. Alternatively, weaken a few. And that way you'll have an easier time. I try and weaken some. And I'm not sure if it'll be clear in this playthrough, but at one point one gets stuck on the front of the porch of the cabin. And so I just kill him. If they do get stuck, you're just going to have to kill them. I think that's coming up in a second. Anyway, you can see now we've got, 1 or 2 ultimates up. Oh god, these stairs. You're going to fall down there a lot. And it's easy to get stuck coming back up and glitch. But don't worry. If you come back up straight away, they'll still be aggroed. If you don't, you can just run back out into the field and pick up aggro again. Shoot over their heads. It's not too hard. And again, I'm down, so being able to just kill a badass in a single fight for your life to get a second wind is really important. Otherwise, it's going to cost you money. I'm not sure if I mentioned I'm playing this with a 4-player slider, which I downloaded. You can grab this, search for Borderlands 2 4-player slider, and it just allows you to simulate 4 players with a single player. Your best bet, though, is to come with 4 players, otherwise, unless you're massively over-equipped, you're going to have a really hard time. But it's spawning him with 1 player. I tried it for 4 or 5 days, it just wasn't happening. I would say it's possible. I've seen reports that it's possible, but the amount of effort required compared to doing it with 4 players is just a worlds apart. I basically get him once every 45 minutes now. It's also worth mentioning as a timer. At some point the buzzards will appear. Some buzzards I think are on a timer for this map, and they'll start flying in and just attacking the varkids. If they come and Vermivorous hasn't appeared, it's probably already too late. So I would give up and just start your game again. If you're playing with friends, just get them to rejoin. That's going to be the quickest way to do it. It's possible to get him to spawn after the buzzards, but it can take 40-50 minutes, in which time you can have just restarted, and you may get him quicker. It's really not worth the effort. And you saw that one with the family tree that I mentioned earlier, or that I showed earlier, where I had 8 ultimates kicking around. You can get to that stage and still never Vermivorous, and it's no fun. So just start again, don't be afraid to do that. Anyway, here he is. I get knocked over the cabin in a second. I go out to have a look. I'm looking for his pod. I don't see it anywhere. And here we go. That's one of the places to stand, also on the bucket. There, I think that's as an ultimate badass pod. I think, but and an ultimate badass maybe came out because it's disappeared now. But I go out to have another look, just to aggro, shoot some adults and stuff. And I don't even notice. I've never seen his pod spawn. It's a tough one to find. Usually because you're hiding in the farmhouse, right? So you never know whether or not it's there. And I don't like to go out too often. But there's an ultimate. I don't see a pod anywhere there. There's maybe that one to the left was maybe him growing. Because the next time I come out, I have a look around the corner, and you'll see, out of nowhere, there he is! Hello, Vermivorous! Anyway, I cut ahead here because you don't want to see me shoot and miss and wait for the action cooldown to reload and go and re-get ammo 3 times, and it's all very tedious. It takes about 25 minutes, but here we cut to the end, and that was at night time. This is the middle of the day, so you get an idea of how long it's taken me to get him here. Anyway, the reason I've got the loot relic active is because his drops. He drops a class mod, I think, and also some heads. And the soldier head, at least, and actually the siren head are both amazing. I really, really want to get those, so I'm going to be farming him for a little while. But to recap, what do you need to do? It's luck-based. There's no guarantee he's going to spawn. He comes from ultimates. If he's not spawning, kill something else will evolve. If you can kill the ultimates, because there's more chance of him evolving from a lower tier. Chances are if the ultimate hasn't spawned him after 5-10 minutes, he's not going to spawn. Bring a caustic weapon and a corrosive weapon. Make sure the caustic weapon can kill a badass in a single second wind, or bring a siren, or friends who can revive you. That would be the smart thing to do. Try again. If the buzzards come, just restart. It's not worth trying to get him to spawn after that. If he hasn't spawned by then, you can milk it, but it's probably not worth it. Anything else? Yeah, no damage shield, remember that. And team mods, shield recharge, shield regen. Play friendly, play nice. Obviously you'll have more luck if you bring a conference call, which is a shotgun from the warrior, and combine it with D if you can keep your shields up. But I haven't got round to farming them yet. So it's possible to do with pretty low level weapons. Anyway, good luck with it. Lots of love. Bye! Okay, if you haven't found the farmhouse, here's how to do it. Go to the northwest of Tundra Express. You'll see that there's a fast travel station there, but you can't unlock it until you've actually been to it yourself. I'm not sure if this is the case with other fast travel stations, but this one's actually behind an electrical grid. So follow this wire, you'll see it leads to this shed, jump up on the tyres on the side, up onto the roof, and then drop down, and there's the fuse box there. Unlock that, head to the right and up these stairs, jump out of the window, and then head back to the little shack, through the grid, which is now down, and drop down this tunnel. And then round here you can activate the farmhouse travel station. Yeah, okay, so if you're going through this, good luck. Remember, you can't do it on your first playthrough, or if you can, I haven't had any luck. You're going to have a really hard time solo, and that's about it. Bye!